Hallo und willkommen, ich bin Meister Lenzi and this is Vlog Dave and you're watching Get Germanized. 10 things Americans learn when they move to Germany.
I am bored, what should I do?
Ah, ich weiß.
Get Germanized. So we found this neat article called, well, 10 things Americans learn when they move to Germany, and we want to go through it and see if we agree or disagree, what we think about it, and you can tell us in the comments as well, obviously, if you agree or disagree. So let's get started with point number 1, and that will be breaking the law accidentally is inevitable. Well, that's true, and I know they talk in that little article about, well, you break the law instantly without even knowing it because Germany has so many rules. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely true. You're only supposed to do certain things or allowed to do certain things at a certain time of day. And, well, if you don't do it that way, there might be problems.
But is it a law that, for example, you have to be quiet during 1 and 2, like to 2 p.m. or something like that? Is it really?
It is, it is.
I didn't even know that, and I'm German.
For instance, obviously, I think you're not allowed to mow the lawn at 9 p.m. in the evening. You know?
Yeah, well, that would be Ruhestörung.
Ruhestörung, die Ruhestörung.
Disturbance of silence, of peace, pretty much.
Yes.
So, and other things like the pedestrian walk and the bike lane, like you're obviously not allowed in the bike lane as pedestrians, so you might have to expect some people like ringing their little bike bells and saying, "Hey, what are you doing in the bike lane?" Or something similar to that. And well, it would be quite a hassle, but I'm not even sure. That's probably a law too, though, because we're in Germany.
Yeah.
So that first point is actually quite valid. We have a lot of laws here, and well, not all of them are they're obvious. So be careful.
Yeah.
Point number 2 is personal lives are personal. Well, this part is about not disturbing like people's privacy, or like the Germans like silence, it says in there.
Yeah.
For example, if you go on a German train, most of the time you won't hear talk between strangers. You might hear a little bit of talking there between friends or people that know each other, but it will be quite quiet,
Yeah.
I'd say, and they try to keep it down to not disturb anyone. You've probably made the same experience, I'd say, right?
Yeah, totally. And I think another thing that kind of is about the same thing is that you don't address a foreigner or a stranger one with du when you don't know that person. You would say Sie, like the formal way of addressing someone and the informal way of addressing someone. I think that's basically related to that as well, to some extent. And yes, it's totally true. Do not disturb strangers if you don't know them too well.
Well, yeah, and I think if you come from another country, for example, I have a friend from Ireland, and she likes to just talk to everyone. And I think that's nice. I think it's nice to make relationships with people that you don't know, right? To like get acquainted with new people, to make new friends and stuff like that. But in Germany, that's not all too common, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really do that. So point number 2, yeah, I can agree with most of that. What do you think? Point number 3, luxury is the exception to the rule. And in this part of the article they talk about, I don't really know what it has to do with luxury.
Yeah, me neither.
It's about the German Autobahn, that's really nice, and that you don't have to bring bathing suits to the beaches. I guess that's like a luxury thing, so you can wear a bikini and stuff like that with no one caring about it.
Luxury in the sense of having personal freedom,
maybe,
yeah. Rather than like having material things that are luxurious. I mean, the Autobahn obviously is a very luxurious thing to have, a highway system that's so well established and so complex in a way. But then again, you also have kind of dilapidated parts of the highway system as well, which aren't so nicely to drive on, you know?
It's a mix, I'd say.
Yeah.
And also it talks about how you can have beer on German trains, how that is not allowed obviously in other countries like the US, but not on all train systems. I think in some, what was it, the Straßenbahn in some parts?
It depends. I think there are like many different companies for buses and trains, and they can all handle things kind of differently.
Yeah.
And another thing is pretty much that many Germans don't really tend to show their wealth when they are luxurious, when they have luxurious things, for instance. So
yeah, you don't notice it.
Yeah, you don't notice it too much because there might be people that envy them or that are kind of jealous.
I mean, there are exceptions to rule. to the rule everywhere, obviously. Like, we have the family, like a TV rich people family called the
Yeah,
Geissens.
like the really extreme cases, you know.
Some people like to display their wealth, obviously, but that's, I think, more an exception. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Point number 4, silence is German. This part of the article I kind of agree with. It's said that, well, Germans enjoy, I guess, silence, or that like they don't like to draw attention to themselves, like unwanted attention necessarily. For example, I just talked to Dave about it as well. I told him that when someone is really loud and obnoxious around me, I feel like embarrassed because I don't really want to be the center of like that kind of attention. So I'm like, dude, psh, calm down, you know, like whatever.
Yeah.
Like people that talk loud at the movies, we just had that experience the other day. Super annoying, I hate that. Or like just in supermarkets, don't scream your lungs out when I'm right next to you. Like not everyone needs to hear about our conversation, like what the hell. So I can agree with that.
I mean,
least.
yeah, it's all about like taking yourself not too important.
Yeah.
After all, like, and it's just like you said, like in the movies. It's so annoying.
Yeah, kind of is. Point number 5, Germany is more than beer and bread.
Yeah.
Because I think we have the reputation to have kind of bland and yucky food here in Germany, right? I'd say.
Yeah.
Or a little greasy and not very nice, at least. And in this article they talk about the Schwarzwälder Kirschtorte, the Black Forest cherry cake, which is super delicious. Yeah. And they talk about other German dishes. And obviously we get the beer right as well. So I think that's nice. What's your favorite German dish? Do you have anything?
Whew,
Do you like asparagus at all? Spargel?
Yeah, at times.
We have a season for that, Spargel-Saison.
Yeah. Die Spargelzeit.
The Spargelzeit, the asparagus time, the asparagus season. And it's like in Germany everyone goes crazy about asparagus in that season. Yeah. White asparagus.
Right. You shouldn't limit like Germany to only 3 dishes you have heard of. I mean, they are really good most of the time when you have them, but you know, there is more to them and to that whole topic than meets the eye.
Exactly. Point number 6. Energy, not the euro, is Germany's currency. That is kind of true, I think, right?
Yeah. I definitely say so in a way, because we are pretty much up at the front line of being environment friendly. And that's not like something that I personally say, it's pretty much a fact. We actually plan on shutting down all nuclear power stations and all that, and we are already in the process of doing that basically. So yeah, we care about our environment.
Yeah, and we recycle and all. So,
yes.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, totally.
Point number 7, everything is grey. And in this article, it not only talks about the weather and the architecture, but also about German opinions, that we try to be neutral and like don't be extreme in one or the other direction.
Yeah, we try to be very diplomatic about many things. But then again, there are many different shades of grey. And, well, touché. And so do like the opinions vary in a way. But you might not hear all the opinions. So
yeah, not everyone is out like up front with them.
Because like many people will have many different opinions, obviously, but not all of them will raise their voice to actually say it out loud and what they think about certain things. So yeah,
I think that article is quite right, because I mean, I try to be diplomatic in most cases because I don't need confrontation in my life. I don't need the drama and stuff. So I'm not like big on
like discussions on YouTube, in the YouTube comment section and all
well,
that.
I like reading that and like laughing about it, but I don't necessarily like to take part in useless conversations that just gets people riled up, that doesn't lead anywhere, you know. Right. If it leads somewhere, if it's constructive, be my guest. But other than that,
well, the weather isn't always that great either, so yeah, don't get a
not all the time, no.
wrong opinion on that.
But most of the time, yes.
Well, kind of.
Point number 8 is called Education Pays Off. Sort of. Well, it talks about how in Germany, it kind of makes us look like geniuses, a little bit at least, but I don't think it's necessarily that true.
No.
It talks about how Americans don't know shit about geography, for example, when Germans know everything. But I don't know everything about geography, no.
Me neither.
Definitely not.
Right.
But I mean, I can't really compare that to anything, really, because I haven't met that many Americans and talked with them about geography. And on TV, they only show dumbasses most of the time when it comes to those kind of questions. So it's not really fair fair to say that. I don't think.
I mean, like in general, it's a very general statement, and you can't really generalize that.
Yeah.
And a whole country, for instance. And obviously, we know many things about different countries and different regions in Europe because we are part of Europe. And, well, Americans, for instance, Northern America is a part of America, the continent. So you probably know more about that region of the earth than many others.
Well, even though it says in the article you don't. But
yeah,
there's that German diplomacy again. Point number 9, life has 3 genders, and they talk about the German articles in that article. Well, like der, die, das. Well, English just has
one.
Duh. The. Exactly. And, well, German is a little bit more complicated in that aspect than the English language.
Masculine, der, feminine, die, and neuter, das.
So that article is right in this section.
Yes, sometimes it can be a bit tricky to know which noun features which article, because sometimes, you know, it can seem very random, but there are some rules to that as well.
We won't go into that
No,
now.
no.
Just remember, learn the article with the word and you'll be fine. And last but not least, point number 10, you never know what you have till it's gone. This point talks about how you will miss things when you go to another country, in this case Germany, and that I think is quite obvious.
Yes.
That, like, we don't have some things that you got there, like what does it say in the article again? Root beer, Rice Krispie treats, mac and cheese, and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you can get that in like shops for that, like import shops or on the internet.
I mean,
Amazon.
You won't starve in Germany. You know.
Definitely not, but you might not get every single thing, obviously. I mean, that would be the same for me. I went to America. They didn't have German bread, at least not the one I'm used to.
I mean, you know, feeling comfortable about a situation is one thing, but then again, when you travel to a different country, to a different region of the world, you know, I wouldn't expect to find all the things I know from my country there, because that's not the purpose and the idea behind traveling in the first place. So,
what if you move somewhere? In the long term, you might miss something.
Moving
right?
something, yeah, but being on vacation, like for a couple of weeks, it's something different then, I'd say. But yeah,
that's true. Anyways, guys, that's about it. What do you think? Like, which points were true, which ones weren't? If you liked the video, if you enjoyed it, leave a like. That helps us out a lot. Subscribe to both our channels if you haven't yet. You'll find links for that in the video description. And you can support me on patreon.com/getgermanized if you really enjoyed the video and want to keep the channel alive. And apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.